what are the long-term implications of Trump's administration's unilateral approach to the settlement of the Ukraine conflict for the U.S. foreign policy?
Well, on the one hand, on the positive side, it will end one of the worst and bloodiest wars on the European continent and maybe even the world since World War II. It has been estimated that hundreds of thousands of people have died over the course of the Ukraine war, and more importantly, the war in Ukraine has threatened global stability and was actually kept the prospect of a third world war or a nuclear Armageddon hanging over our heads constantly because of the unprecedented escalation and tension between the US-led alliance, NATO, and Ukraine, and Russia. And this situation has been unprecedented since the Cuban Missile Crisis. So moving to end this war in general and trying to find something that would ensure some sort of sustained and durable peace, yes, that's a positive sign. However, we did not see any hard power in this regard, because if anything, and that will get me to the negative side of this for the Europeans and the NATO allies in particular, not for me, but for them, that is giving in to Russia, because what Trump is doing is he's basically granting Russia most of its demands, whether these demands are legitimate.
Excluding Ukraine and speaking with Europe on some of the issue, not the whole issue. What does this mean?
Yes, it means what I was just about to say, Mona. It means that the U.S. is pursuing a unilateral settlement of the Ukrainian conflict. Apparently, Ukraine is being completely sidelined from the negotiating process, at least on the core issues. It seems that the Russians and the Americans have worked something out behind the scenes already, even before Trump's inauguration, and communication between President Putin and President-elect Trump back then, were there before even Trump was inaugurated to assume the responsibilities of his second term. So it seems that there is a settlement, and it seems that this settlement will not take the security concerns of Europe into account, at least to the extent that the Europeans would like it to be taken. And also, the Ukrainians are not part of the conversation. Of course, we have to admit that the Ukrainians have rather unrealistic demands that do not correspond to the realities on the battlefield, and we cannot deny that the part of the responsibility of why the situation has deteriorated to the open state of war was the style of leadership and the choices of the Ukrainian leadership back in 2022. However, now as things are, it seems that they are being almost completely excluded from the negotiating process, and this is not right. This will not ensure that peace will be sustained. And also, at the same time, on the other hand, Vice President J.D. Vance threatened Russia that the U.S. might send troops into Ukraine if the peace fails. Of course, they will never do this, because this will mean a third world war. And it also showed us or revealed a sort of inconsistency, because right afterwards, a few hours afterwards, Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, came out and said, no, we're not sending any troops to Ukraine under any circumstances, and no, Ukraine will never be a member of NATO. Mm-hmm. That this inconsistency of the United States in dealing with this matter and trying just to seal off the issue and resolve it at the expense of the Ukrainians and the Europeans, and this is definitely what it looks like, I don't think that this sends the right messages, and it does lessen confidence in U.S. leadership. However, on the other hand, an end to the Russo-Ukrainian war is better for the entire world and better for everyone, because definitely enough blood has been shed in this conflict.
Indeed.